Timely.
And if he's available.
To be discussed and decided today, is that my understanding, Mr. Anderson?
That's what Jason Kubitschek will be discussing with the board today.
Oh, Grace, I mean, sorry, no.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Let's see what's going on. I gotta make sure you connected to my Bluetooth.
So it looks like Grace sent information yesterday afternoon at 4:27. Is that the information that you're going to give? That was sent out?
Yeah, it would be the
Right. And then the resolution, Mr. Anderson, came from you at 5:56 yesterday?
Which one?
Did you not have a chance to read it?
No, there's several of them, that's why I'm saying. Which one are you referring to?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I worked last night till 10:30, so I haven't had a chance to review any of this information. Is that what we're gonna take the time this morning and have time for everybody to read that?
We will be going through it, yes. And it is up to you to come prepared, so. It is.
I just want to make it for the record that that's why it's difficult to come prepared when the documents were sent at 5 o'clock, Mr. White. And I worked last night till 10:30, so I apologize for not having read these everything.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. The first order of business will be the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone. This is a special meeting, so there are only the items listed on the agenda will be considered at this time. Let everybody know we have Kim Lindquist here with us from WSB. We also have Jason Hill and Jason Kubitschek, our two attorneys, with us here on Zoom. With that, I am going to turn it over to Vern Anderson, Chair of the Planning Commission, to make opening statements and explain what is being presented to us today.
All right, Alan, thank you. Since 2001, many discussions were had and funds were approved to update the 2015 zoning ordinance, but no action was taken until this planning commission began addressing it. Following several months of thorough review, numerous public meetings, and a properly noticed public hearing, the planning commission has decided to recommend the draft comprehensive plan, zoning ordinance, and maps of the town board. Our studies addressed various topics, including zoning, lake septic systems, lot sizes, and water quality from a range of sources. All updates over the past months, including WSB memos, have been emailed to the town supervisors, shared at public meetings, and posted on the township website. The Minnesota DNR statewide shoreline management rules were last updated in 1989. In the past 37 years, a lot has changed with our lake shores. The Management Act directs local governments, such as townships, via state regulations, to preserve quality, water quality, and shoreline values of the township's 21 lakes. As Planning Commission members, we support zoning regulations that protect farmland, forests, and water quality to future generations, so future generations can enjoy our landscapes and community. Our aim was to balance development with environmental stewardship while preserving the town's rural character. Reducing density can promote improved water quality and a more natural shoreline. As stewards of the land, we have a responsibility to manage it wisely and ensure its preservation for future generations. In conclusion, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation and thanks to the members of the Planning Commission, Kim Lindquist and Grace Loganquist of WSB, as well as Jason Hill of Town Law Center and Jason Kubicek of Iverson Law. This undertaking has been substantial, requiring significant collaboration to reach this stage. I am grateful for everyone's commitment and diligent efforts. The Planning Commission hereby submits for consideration the draft comprehensive plan, zoning ordinance, and accompanying maps to the town board. These documents are designed to enhance the protection of Windemere Township's natural resources, agricultural land, and rural character. We respectfully request your timely approval. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vern. Jason Hill, Grace, are you able to hear everything?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And is Jason Kubicek on?
It's,
I am.
You are.
I have my camera on.
Very good, all right. Thank you all, and at this point, there have been some slight changes that were made for a couple of reasons, just some small corrections that were made in the ordinance, as well as some things that were in arriving at the agreement with the attorneys and the Summit Commons lawsuit. So Kim, can I turn it over to you at this time, and we will go through, this is the memorandum.
Right. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So there's really two different memos. One relates to the DNR, and one has general draft ordinance recommendations. And actually, I want to be clear, the ordinance in front of the board right now is the recommended the recommended one from the Planning Commission. So that's the base that we're working with. And then we've got these memos that list out some potential changes should the board choose to adopt those additional modifications. So we, at this stage of the game, it's the Planning Commission recommendation is the one that the board's taking action on. So I wanted to start just briefly with the DNR recommendations. I think many of you are aware that there was litigation and that there was modifications that were embodied in the Planning Commission recommended approved draft ordinance that ultimately were not found favorable by the DNR. So the DNR, as many of you know, the township is required to be as restrictive as the DNR and the Pine County ordinance. So we can be more restrictive, but we cannot be less restrictive. And so after forwarding the Planning Commission recommended ordinance, they gave us feedback about a variety of items that were not consistent with Pine County and the DNR. And so you will see in the memo that there are several items that we're recommending modification to based on the DNR requirements so that the DNR can approve our ordinance. And I know that there's people who feel like maybe we don't have to have the DNR approve the ordinance, but in fact, we do have to have them approve the shoreline ordinance. So I'm looking at the DNR comments response memo. I'm just gonna quickly walk through them. I don't think they're overly onerous. There was some request to make sure that our PUD section is consistent with the verbiage in their PUD section, which required us to put in campgrounds instead of recreational vehicle parks. So that's one of the changes that's underlined. Additionally, in the summary table 3.6, even though that's not in the shoreline ordinance, they requested that we put a footnote in for the commercial, the 90% impervious surface, which is not consistent with the shoreline, and requested that we in fact note that it is not in the shoreline that allows those standards, and so we put that in. And then the other changes you can see afterward are the tables of allowed uses. These were probably the area of the most conversation because of the settlement. We needed to remove expansion of campgrounds and manufactured homes as conditional uses. So what the requirement is that they need to, a campground or a manufactured home park needs to apply for a PUD, which is a CUP process, but the PUD has specific design standards and elements that have to be applied for any approval. And so they were concerned about how it was, and now it's been modified, and this would be found acceptable. So those are the changes that we would propose in the ordinance and request the board, when you ultimately approve the ordinance, if you should, to make note of those requested changes so that we can meet the DNR and the Pine County standards.
All right, questions?
Where's the footnote that you're referring to?
It's under commercial, CI commercial, unsewered number 6, there's an underline under it.
Yeah, you're on the right chart.
Right, I see the 6, so where do I look to see the language that that's referring to, the footnote?
It's at the top of the next page, it says all commercial lots in the shoreline overlay district shall have maximum 25% impervious surface coverage. So it
Okay.
just rolled over.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? So, no. I'm good. All right, we will,
Should I walk through that now?
I'm just wondering if I should have a motion to approve that we agree with these, or just a, all right. I will make a motion that we approve these changes to the,
Oh.
Kim, would this would be to the ordinance? Was there a map change on this one as well?
No, there is not.
I would make a motion that we approve the DNR recommendations as stated in the memorandum of April 2nd. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Overland, aye.
Aye.
The only reason why I will agree with this recommendation to change to the ordinance is because I received a courtesy call from the DNR yesterday to catch me up on the process because I hadn't heard anything. We went over it in detail regarding the changes, and this does not impact the overall ordinance for the majority of any of you. This is directly related to the property that Lampert is concerned with. So with that said, I will vote as well.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. Next memorandum, Kim?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that's the April 6th memo, and this is listed as a draft zoning ordinance and draft comp plan revisions. And again, these are potential changes we'd like you to consider that are based off of the Planning Commission recommended zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan. So the first one, you'll see we're removing the new recreation vehicle parks are prohibited. That's inconsistent with the conversation we just had about it potentially being allowed in a PUD and also outside of the shoreline. And so that's an error that we'd like corrected. We also, I guess, is there any question on that particular item? Kind of straightforward in the grand scheme of them. Okay, the second item is that we did have a resident reach out regarding an accessory structure for horses, and in fact they have horses, and then there was a little bit more conversation that other people in the community have horses, and it isn't specifically listed in the rural residential district. In fact, there is some, if you look down under 5.2, agricultural uses excluding livestock is actually what's in the draft ordinance and was in the prior 2015 ordinance. So we are recommending adding this: horses are permitted on lots larger than 20 acres and at no greater density than 1 animal unit per 2 grazable acres, excuse me. So we're recommending to allow people to have horses if they're a certain size lot, acreage, and at that 1 to 2 acre grazable acres, which is consistent with the state requirements for what animals are. I can't think of the right term, but, and then along with that, we are adding, where it says agricultural activities involving livestock were prohibited except for the exception above, so that allows the horses.
Prior to that, what had the language said? Prior to yesterday?
It specifically, it would have been agricultural uses excluding livestock. So we're recommending to add the portion underline. My guess is people had horses and just people didn't do anything. There wasn't any active enforcement.
Any other questions? Thank you. Go ahead, Kim.
So the third section relates similarly to the, we talked about this at the last meeting, about allowing a very large structure potentially for agricultural uses. So that ended up being settled at the 12,000 square feet of agricultural building in the R2. And so again, this was just an oversight in our part where we have accessory structures at 12,000 square feet require conditional use. And then we're saying except for that new section. So again, last time, the Planning Commission, I think there was a pretty big discussion about this. Agricultural uses get more accessory structure. It was settled at 12,000 square feet. But yet it was oversight on staff's part that we didn't recognize that in the ordinance. And so anything over 1,200 would have needed a conditional use, and we're just accepting that out.
Okay, so this says 1,200, accessory structure with a floor area of 1,200, except as permitted under 3.3. Okay.
Right.
Very
What does section 3.3 say?
That's the section that we added about the 12,000 for the agricultural use.
All right. Continue.
No, I don't, and I don't have time. Go ahead.
And then the next one is, again, an oversight on our part. We had changed the front yard setback in a variety of locations, found one that we hadn't changed, and it's supposed to be 20 feet. So just struck out the 30 and put in 20, so it's consistent across the ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Number 5, these two sections are related to the settlement agreement and were discussed at the joint meeting. These are not in the shoreland. Oh, I'm sorry, wait.
Within the.
They are within the shoreland. And they are recognizing existing manufactured homes and existing campgrounds.
As pretty much specific to the settlement agreement.
Correct. And then number 6 is removing the strike-through language. So the area in number 6, it's generally section 14, which is an administrative section related to the Planning Commission composition and operation. And this section initially was a new section. Our attorney had provided a lot of the administrative sections really from a kind of best practices standpoint and not necessarily took in all of the nuances of the 2015 ordinance. And so the modifications that are before you in this section 14 are more reflective of the 2015 language and how it was set up. So there's the replacement, for example, the Board of Appeals is instead of the town board, is the planning commission. Or it talks about the commission member being removed for a majority vote. So these are generally administrative topics associated with the planning commission.
What was added then? There's red here and underline.
So the underline is the added,
Is the added language, correct?
Yeah.
Is the red meant to be there, or is that just kind of a, it's just the printer, I believe. Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to have any special meaning.
So when it says then, the town board shall designate the number of commissions members by resolution and may decrease or expand the number of commission members by subsequent resolution as determined is appropriate, is not new language even though it's in red.
correct.
Tony, any questions?
All right, and then there's just a couple of little points on the comp plan. And these were, I think, we've spent some time trying to kind of bring forward the comprehensive plan. We use that as the basis for a lot of the conversation and kind of the start for the draft ordinance update. But over time, some of the conversation had led us to not support some of the things. So for example, in number 1, the land uses in rural ag, we took out the campgrounds and the solar or wind energy farms out of the ag section. So these are just additional modifications to the comprehensive plan that
Where are
I
you,
think.
where are you reading? I was at
It's page 3 on the
Okay.
bottom of page 3 of the memo.
Page number's up in the upper left there.
Okay, and you're where, at section 14.2.3?
Nope, where it says draft comp plan.
So we skipped over all of the rest of this?
Well, the section 14 was all related to the planning commission administration.
Okay. There was still some changes, but, okay.
Yes, everything underlined.
Yep. Okay.
So, in the comprehensive plan then, we removed those items from the rural ag area. We moved commercial or private recreation out of the forest management.
And why did you do that?
Well, after conversations at the planning commission, these items are no longer recommended for approval in those land uses in those zoning districts.
And when was that determination made?
Well, it's reflected in the planning commission recommended zoning ordinance.
Correct, but I'm just looking at these strike-throughs today, so to me that indicates from looking at the draft ordinance 2 weeks ago that I read through that this has been a change since then, is that correct?
Oh, no, I think it was probably more an error on my part.
So that you didn't catch it 2 weeks ago, but now you're catching it?
Right, yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, several of these are things, it's the zoning ordinance is like, 130 pages in the town plan, we try to catch the main ones, but obviously every time we look at it, we find some stuff.
So, would these still be allowed under, if somebody went for a variance, or they're just saying no?
So the comprehensive plan is really a document that just is directive. The ordinance implements what the comp plan is. We just are saying this so that there's some consistency. The solar or wind energy farms weren't in the ag.
They weren't in they weren't in the zoning plan.
Right.
Yeah, okay,
So
but
we're
have
just
been in the
saying like, we should have excluded that.
Sure.
I do want to make one point though. You can't get a variance for use, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said that, I
Okay.
used the wrong, I realized I used the wrong word there. Yes, you're correct. Yes,
We probably said that a few times, so I just wanted to be clear.
thank you. All right,
So, the next one is in that sensitive area. This, often aligns with some of the shoreland, and we've had quite a bit of conversation about, nonconformities, and so it's already in there that current zoning regulations allowing a setback and on-site sewage are met, and we added impervious surface, because that's kind of the three that we've been telling everybody about nonconformity, saying to meet those three in the shoreland. And then, farther down, this was just, there was kind of, some of this is basically reflecting the changes that have occurred related to the settlement. Originally there were some conditional use permits allowed for certain types of uses, and this reflects the ultimate disposition of the settlement as to be right now.
yeah, that was, this is all about, again, about the discussion in the settlement
Yeah, that whole
Shoreland.
shoreland section, yes.
areas. All right, very good.
Similarly, like the number 2 about expansion of or new resorts. So, residential. So we have water-oriented commercial. We haven't used water-oriented commercial. We've got everything water-oriented commercial residential district, so we're just clarifying. It's that district. So that was an error on our part. And we're noting that it's the PUD, which is a conditional use permit process. So some of these changes, again, we're trying to provide more clarity with people being reviewing them.
All right, any other questions? If not, I'd make a motion to, that we approve these changes to go in, to be made onto the comprehensive plan and the zoning.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Overland, aye.
Yeah.
Again, I agree with some of the changes here regarding allowing horses 20 acres or larger, and the fact that we need to be consistent with the language regarding the settlement. The rest of it is a no, so I will vote no on this.
All right, so I have two other areas I'd like to bring up. One is that in the sensitive area, I would like to make a change and allow home occupation 1. Home occupation 1 is simply allows somebody to make jams, jellies, garden things. They do not sell it at their property. It just allows them to make the product at their home. And well, I should read this definition. Home occupation 1 means a non-residential use carried out on residential property which only employs persons residing within the home and does not require additional employees, separate employees, or customer parking, in-person sale of products, exterior storage, does not utilize an accessory building, and does not generate a noticeable increase in traffic. Home occupations such as, but not limited to, architects, artists, clergymen, clothing alterations, domestic craft making, and similar uses shall be classified as home occupation 1. I would like to, well, I'll take them separately. I'd like to make a motion that we add that as a permitted use in the sensitive area. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Was this a specific request from somebody?
Yes, it was, and it is just something that, I don't know if it was overlooked by the planning commission or just wasn't considered. Home occupation 2 is where you'd have a business at your home, and that's considerably.
Well, typically, this home occupation is only allowed, I think, in agricultural, is that correct? Before, not sensitive rural?
No, you can have home occupations in more than just the ag, but it's a lower level of activity.
Right.
I believe it's also in the R2. Thank you. It is in R2.
But it's not insensitive.
Correct.
It wasn't.
Not at this point, right? Not based on the planning commission recommended approval.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Overland, aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right, secondly, the Forest Management District, the minimum lot size at this point is 10 acres. I think to be consistent with ag and in sensitive area, I would like to make a motion that we increase the lot area from 10 acres to 20 acres.
In what area? What are you reading off of, and what was the request?
Forest management, there was no request, I just think it is more consistent with what we're doing with the rest of the township.
So you want to increase to, you have to have at least 20 acres now in order to do forestry management?
If you're going to subdivide your lot in this forest management area.
And why wasn't this brought up earlier to discuss this? What brought you to this today?
Just as I was reading through it, as I said, I saw it and I just thought it seemed inconsistent with what we were doing in the rest of the project.
Okay.
All right, so I can't remember if I made that as a motion.
We need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Overland, aye.
Cronin, no.
All right, with that,
Considering that we're taking special requests, I'm going to make one more plea regarding the property. I'm drawing a blank, Friday, your property.
The Dobusinski's and Wickstrom's property.
Yes, thank you. Regarding changing that from sensitive back to agricultural. I know there was a short time when it was deemed sensitive, but for the majority of the time that that family has been living on that piece of property, it has been agricultural. It has not changed or impacted, and we have no studies showing direct impact at all regarding that stream that they, most of their property falls along with. They have no intent, I think it's binding that that property stays within their family. And I would like to make a motion that we change that from sensitive area back to ag.
before I do anything else, Vern, do you want to address a little bit on that, how that whole area through there came up with this being sensitive
I've heard it
area?
before.
Oh, I would like to hear it again.
Okay.
Well, 90% of the area is was special protection, now it was renamed to sensitive area. And so our, the plan, the comprehensive plan is asking for greater protection of that area. And so the commission reviewed all that information along with our planners. And of course, the permitted uses, the main permitted use in sensitive area is agriculture, along with single family homes. And so that's where the planning commission felt it was appropriate to finish out the remainder of the river. And thus we see it on the maps. And now the whole river is protected in any particular district. And so that's the long and the short of it from the planning commission's perspective.
For those of you who can see, it's this green area through here that is considered the sensitive area. As I was considering this, I was trying to figure out, it's in a sensitive area, it's along the river, it's kind of consistent with how it follows the river area there. I was trying to determine or see how it would impact the people who own it. The permitted uses are, I believe, almost exactly the same.
Well, obviously it's not, because there's a concern from that property owner, there was a significant amount of that, from changing it out of agricultural to sensitive area. What are those nuances? What are the limitations? Is it because they can't grow pot? Is that the concern?
No,
So what's the concern here? I mean, if the uses are the same, then why is it that there's a need to change? And I understand that consistency seems to be the word of the day. I operate from a point of impact. And have we shown an impact regarding how they've been using the property? Is there an impact the way that they have been in dealing agricultural versus subsidy? If they're virtually the same, what difference does it make to this committee if it makes a significant difference to the people that own it?
Sure, I'm gonna default back to the board. The planning commission did their work, and we're done, so you guys.
Okay,
you guys
Kim,
take this
can
up.
you,
The big thing is the acreage, of course.
Yeah.
That's one of them. But-
one of the things in the sensitive area is there is a minimum lot size of 40 acres versus the 20 acres in agriculture.
And what impact will that have if it's 40 versus 20? What's the concern, that you're gonna have a whole bunch of people living out there dividing it into 20 acres?
Again, this was deemed a sensitive area along the river.
I understand that, I'm asking you what's the reason, what's the difference if it's between agriculture and incentive? You're telling me that it's primarily the same usage, and the
Yep.
big thing is subdividing it into 20, so what if it's 20 versus 40? What's the impact, what's the downside to that? Can somebody answer that question for me?
I think maybe Heidi, this is the last thing I'll say, but when you approved the 2015 ordinance, why did you make that area special protection along the Little River and have it 40 acres? That would be my question back to you.
Mr. Anderson, that was over a decade ago, and I can't remember the justification regarding that. That's why, you know what, we get a little bit, hopefully, some of us get a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser, and have their feet on the ground a little bit more than we did a decade ago.
Sure.
That's my goal. I'm asking the board today, that's all I'm dealing with is today. That's my
All
question.
right.
And maybe I've learned a little bit more since 2015, Mr. Anderson, and that's why I'm
You
asking
can
the
call
board
me
these
Vern.
questions.
Okay, my name is Vern. Mr.
So,
Anderson would be my
it will
my
not be.
grandfather.
We will, there was a lot of research that was, or not should say research, a lot of consideration that was given to this. The uses that are allowed under this are virtually identical. Kim, have you found that yet? Can you read the uses that are allowed under the special protection district?
Yeah, so that is A, flood control, forestry, nursery, single-family dwelling, public rec, historic sites. So what's,
And
there's.
the first one was agricultural uses,
Yes,
correct?
yeah,
Which allows all sorts.
right. There's just, I think, the board member mentioned, you know, there are some things that are increased in the A, additional potential uses.
Like what?
So the first two are ag and single family. There's house of worship, home occupation, forestry and nursery, seasonal greenhouses, a temporary or seasonal structure for sale of ag, public parks, cannabis cultivator, operation and storage of vehicles, equipment and machinery, recreation facilities, and then in the accessory, in the conditional use, there's agricultural commercial activities related to agriculture, such as tractor or trailer repair, veterinary office, welding, seed and ag, chemical sales, which do not employ more than 6 employees. There's also borrow pits and related facilities, and then a plethora of the cannabis, home occupation 2, public utilities, public and private nursery, schools.
And none of that's allowed in sensitive?
Correct. Those conditional uses, I said, burn.
So it sounds like, so there's a potential for sensitive areas to get those, to be able to operate like that if, in a sensitive area, if you get a conditional use permit?
No, the ones I just read to you were the agriculture.
And in order to do that, you'd have to have a conditional use permit? Or what
But
did you mention?
you'd have to be zoned ag. Yeah, and those are not in the sensitive area. I'm sorry.
But I think what Heidi is saying is, if you wish to do that in a sensitive area, can you get a conditional use to do it?
No,
You could.
they're not listed. The only conditional uses in the sensitive area are accessory structures, cemeteries, and commercial outdoor recreation.
So it does sound like there's a significant difference between the two.
Well, there is. It's a question of some of that, whether you want that operating in this area or not. since you're along a river.
The possibility of it being operated in that area, correct?
That's correct. And I believe that's what was looked at by the commission when they recommended this.
But the Anderson wetlands falls into.
I'm sorry, we're done.
Flows into the Willow River. So you all know the Anderson wetlands flows into the Willow River. Our Willow River does not,
Ma'am, you're out of order. Sorry.
of course, because I'm speaking the truth.
All right.
So I made a motion.
All right, yes, I am
You
still.
have to take it from there.
I do, I am, and that's what I'm considering. So, Tony? Anything? I'm sorry, I have to stick with what the planning commission has recommended here. I think there's been good considerations given, and I will second that motion. Tony, motion dies for lack of second. Next. Anything else?
No, not yet.
All right.
Alan, I want to, these DNR letters, I don't think you printed them off, but it's just a consistency letter from the DNR, so that's for you 3 board members.
Okay.
Which just talks about that they gave us the go-ahead. There's some final recommendations on there. Once the clean copy's done, you want to see it, and so it's what we went through a year ago.
All right. So next we will move into the consideration of the approval of the comprehensive plan. And Jason, correct me if I am wrong here. We are considering the resolution, correct, for the, which resolution do we wish to do first? This is the,
We should approve the.
There's specifically a resolution approving the comprehensive plan amendments.
okay, yes, all right. So, you have that one, that is this one right here. This is and those were the amendments we just made, is that right, Jason? Is that what it's referring to?
Yeah, I think you can make the motion to approve the resolution approving the comprehensive plan amendments with any amendments that were made.
I see what you're saying.
That resolution is broadly just.
Broadly, across everything that has been done.
Yeah.
All right. So, this is basically just approving the new comprehensive plan, correct?
Yes, that is
With
done
amendments.
For statute, that's done by resolution.
All right. So I make a motion that we adopt the resolution approving amendments to the Windemere Township Comprehensive Plan. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, discussion. This is just approving the new comprehensive plan with the amendments that were made today. Discussion?
Yeah, the discussion would be, again, that the changes that are being proposed to the comprehensive plan, but particularly to the ordinance, are significant is an understatement. The fact that, and I appreciate due diligence on your part, that you're catching things, and I get it. But the fact that I've had such little time to make the considerations, to ask questions, in my opinion, to this board is embarrassing. And frankly, because the impacts are going to be so significant, is frankly inexcusable at this time. The comprehensive plan, from what I read of it the last time I was able to, that was updated, and the language notwithstanding today's changes, were made to match the ordinance, so they're similar to each other. Again, I'm stunned, but I have to remind myself not to be, every time I come here.
Very good. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Overland, aye.
Cronin, no.
All right. Our next resolution, Jason, is,
The resolution approving the zoning ordinance, the repeal and replacement of the zoning ordinance
all right.
and the shortening ordinance.
All right, so we have here a resolution, and I will make this as a motion, to adopt the resolution approving the repeal and replacement of the Windemere Township zoning ordinance and the Windemere Township shoreland management ordinance. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, again, discussion. This has the bulk of what's out in this has been out for weeks. There have been ample time to look through it. There were modifications made and corrections made that we needed to get things in line, both with the lawsuit that we had and corrections have been made. There were public hearings. There were changes that were made to that were more agreeable with some that had disagreed. And I think we have a good ordinance here. I am very pleased with it. I realize that not always the case. Not everybody does. But there was a group of people that looked at this for a long time. I would ask any of you, what do you really feel is in the best interest of the township? The township as a whole. And
My council. My council, yeah, my council.
to think and consider, and not just the few of you who are here. The entire township.
Snowbirds ain't home yet.
Yeah, so anyway, any other comment?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I have one email I thought was succinct, a couple of them. In my humble opinion, again, I want to apologize, start this off with an apology. It's tough. You guys have really hung in there. I don't want to say thank you. Even though that this board has considered the changes for, they say, a long time, what they haven't taken into consideration are your well thought out points, discussions, and concerns. Some they have. They've been a little tweaks here and there regarding some of the changes the Planning Commission made to certain individuals, like Talisha, considering her change. But many other concerns have not been listened to. One person that, there's a few people that have been very, very dedicated. There's many of you that have been very dedicated. And again, I just can't thank you for showing up, because that's what it takes, is to show up, right? This comes from Mr. Benzie. Having attended the board meetings and planning commission meetings over the last 2 years, I do want to comment on misleading statements made at the most recent public meeting when the commission approved the draft ordinance. The chairperson cited multiple organizational mission statements and policies and implied that the commission used those in the decision-making and that these organizations supported the severe restrictions that they have put in the ordinance. Both of those statements are misleading and they're false. Number one, none of the meetings that Mr. Benzie attended, that I've attended or reviewed the meeting minutes to of the commission over the past year have shown any discussion in public referring to these organizations' policies, mission statements, or any other studies or evidence in support of these restrictions. Number two, none of the quoted mission statements at the recent meeting identified any specific recommendations, and in fact, the current Pine County zoning ordinance meets the goals and missions of all of the organizations met and mission statements. As was cited in the Windemere 2020 comp plan and further confirmed by ongoing DNR, Minnesota pollution control, and the citizens' water quality monitoring over recent decades, the lakes continue to show gradual improvement, while the township has continued with responsible residential development within shoreline zone. These are studies that go back to 1975. There have been no studies presented that show modern design on septic systems that have any effect on lake water quality than public sewer systems. Dan has been on the Windemere Lakes Association. He was on the Pine County Soil and Water Conservation District. He was the chair of the Policy Committee Kettle River Upper Sioux St. Croix Watershed Plan, and the past chair of the Moose Lake Windemere Sanitary Sewer District. Another statement which I thought was very direct and succinct comes from Doug Craig, who lives on Sand Lake. And he says he understands that we'll be voting on this ordinance. His purpose is first and foremost to encourage you not to adopt it, the plan that's being recommended by the Planning Commission. It's not what's best for Windemere Township if you define best as that which protects the natural resources while optimizing land value and does all this cost effectively. What is best is to adopt the 2025 Pine County zoning ordinance. I appreciate a lot of time has been invested in this effort, but your time will not have been wasted. The draft ordinance could be helpful when future updates are made to Pine County ordinance. I appreciate that the move to much more highly restrictive lot standards and setbacks may be considered a wise, proactive action. I'm all for being proactive when the facts from science studies shows it's the wise things to do. But there are a few studies done, MPCA 1992-2003 and University of Minnesota 2025 show sturgeon and Island Lake have not experienced degradation. Again, I mentioned this earlier. Lot size does not directly degrade water quality, erosion, and chemical. Lot size does not directly degrade water quality. Erosion and chemicals do. Better enforcement, vegetation management, fertilizer use, and septic systems performed, and lake quality will be healthy. Adopting the 2025 Pine County zoning ordinance is also cost effective, since zoning costs currently paid by 100% of Windemere Township will be split across the entirety of Pine County. He gave comparatives table below for what are peer counties with lakes and the DNR latest model ordinance uses for lake size and setbacks. Considering the lot sizes here, both sewered and unsewered, they're significantly different compared to Aiken, Carlton, Crow Wing, DNR, Pine. If you look at Windemere's, it's just really interesting. And again, I thought about this yesterday when I was doing some enforcement cases, and it comes down to facts. And Mr. Anderson, you sent out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, a whole list of fantastic to read studies. And again, Corinne Huso, she's attended almost every single one of the Planning Commission meetings today. I'm sorry, am I taking away from something, Mr. Anderson?
Just taking care of business, I have a job to do as well. This isn't my meeting, this is your meeting, so you talk to your supervisor if you would.
But I'm saying this is really, you're really part of it because you are the chair of that Planning Commission. Anyhow, and she attended just about every meeting in 2025. And none of these studies or information that Mr. Anderson provided, none of them were discussed ever. Not once. Not once. You could go on and we try to find studies about water quality and again, just the facts. And again, this was brought up, and thank you, Dan, again, for providing this information. Again, we mentioned that water quality has only improved since the 1970s. In 1993, MPCA did a lake assessment program. Again, even the PCA, and to this day, actually, should follow DNR shoreline guidelines. And we are in compliance with that, but we're just significantly above and beyond that. 2019 environmental lab trends over the past 30 years on Island Lake alone show stable to improving water transparency and phosphorus levels. 2022 Lake Association hired Stantec Engineering to assess water quality of Island Lake. 58% of phosphorus loads from sediment, only 6% from direct contributions, which means direct impact from landowners. 2025 Minnesota Pollution Control Agency from DNR Lake Finder, Sturgeon Lake. For years 1980 to 2025, there is evidence of improving water clarity at this lake of approximately a foot per decade. So we're going in the right direction here. And then for Island Lake, the same, has maintained for the most relative year median clarity of 1.5 feet deeper than in the watershed median. There is no clear evidence at all that that modern design on septic systems affect quality any more than public sewers. I want to be clear on that. You can mention all day long about potential failing systems. Again, those are at best guesstimates. It comes down to the fact, are we seeing an impact? That's what I have to consider when I do enforcement. And that's the beauty of all this. We're going to have, according to 2 members of this board, one hell of an ordinance. I can't wait to see how we're going to enforce that. So again, these are just a few that I can mention. And again, I wish I could do more. I'm just one. I'm trying. But where this ordinance sits is, I don't quite have the word.
All right, thank you. I received those same 2 emails, and
They asked you to read it out loud, or is that your intent?
no, because this was not a public comment period.
Well, we all get to publicly comment,
So,
don't we?
which you can,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. I'm not complaining at all
But I-
of what you read. What I will say is that I don't know why we feel that we should want to find the lowest standard there is and try to go for that. Is that where we want to try to?
That's not at all that. You want
I
to be the
am
most protected.
speaking at this moment. Please respect my time to speak. And we are, as I was saying, should we be trying to achieve the lowest possible standard? I don't think so. Yes, I received those 2 emails as well. And just so you know, out of the 1,300 people, residents who live here, and over 2,000 landowners, those were the only 2 emails that I received, other than on the ag part.
I sent in multiple emails.
No, excuse me, you do not have the floor. With that, all right, go ahead.
I always wanted to just say something. We have a unique township here. We have a 6 mile by 6 mile with the 21 lakes. The process that the planning committee has gone through to create the 2026 ordinances and updating the comp plan for our township was a very detailed and thoughtful process. In my opinion, our township is very enticing to developers who will want to profit from our lakes and land, which may not always be in the best interest of the community. But I'm fighting for our community's future. Our new zoning ordinances protects our lakes, environment, property values, and rural lifestyle. With the new ordinances in place, the planning committee will now be able to focus on grants that will fund critical needs like a new sewer system within our township. We need to plan for responsible growth and our community's well-being. Thank you.
And I apologize for interrupting you. I should have waited. I am not interested in the lowest common denominator as you referenced. The DNR standards are based on years of study, and we have gone above and beyond that. So if we were to, let's say, adopt Pine County ordinance, which is clearly aligned with the DNR shoreline requirements, we would not be going to the lowest common denominator, Mr. Oberlin.
All right, thank you. I will call the question. All in favor of adopting resolution approving the appeal and replacement of the Windemere Township zoning ordinance and the Windemere Township shoreline management ordinance, please say aye. Overland, aye.
Terry, aye.
Cronin, no.
All right, thank you. And with that, I have a resolution here approving the summary language for publication of the Windemere Township zoning ordinance. I would like to make a motion to approve this resolution, approving the summary language to go in the paper. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Again, I'm looking at this now.
It's just the summary language.
I don't care.
Mr. Rowe.
The answer is no.
All right, that is your prerogative. All right. Jason, we have this page here that says Windemere zoning ordinance. Is that all part, that's part of the summary language, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Very good. And then I believe we need to come to the stipulated agreement, is that right? Have we covered all the areas at this point?
Consideration of application and escrow fees, what's that? Where's that
Oh.
information?
Yeah, that was on.
Can you table that till your next meeting, please?
Okay,
What is it? That was my question.
Just what it says.
it's,
Oh, you're right, Mr. Anderson, that's what it says. Can you give me a little explanation of that? Like a little bit of the application escrow
So
fees?
there's escrow amounts or escrow considerations within the new ordinance. So the
Yeah.
planner will be bringing up those suggestions, and the commission will bring you a recommendation.
what it involves is so that the township, when someone comes in with something they want to do within zoning, that the township is not stuck with the cost. It is though that the cost goes back to the person who's actually causing the, bringing the expense to the township. Pretty
Is not
standard.
that language in the ordinance that we just approved referring to the escrow?
No.
Yeah, it's, the language is in the ordinance, it's been in there for months, but, so what the commission needs to do is consider the amounts and make a recommendation back to you, so this will happen at our continued meeting later today.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So we have been in discussions with Summit Commons, and we have come to an agreement with them. We have a settlement agreement in front of us, a stipulated settlement agreement in order. And I would like to make a motion that the township approve this settlement agreement.
I will second that.
Did I state that correctly?
You did, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Discussion?
Yeah, Jason, how much has this changed since the last time I've even had a chance to look at it? Again, I appreciate all your work on this, just know that. But when you sent it out at 4:23, I sent an email on Monday, yesterday morning, asking where things were at. And I had to leave for my second job at 4, I didn't get home until 10:30. I thought about checking my email, but I just was beat. So I got up this morning at about 8:30. I turned on my email at 8:30, and this settlement agreement, which is fairly lengthy, is sitting in my inbox. What's changed since the last time I talked to you directly regarding this? What am I don't like to vote anything on something I haven't read, even though I'm inclined to agree with the overall aspect of it.
Sure, so probably the last, you didn't review what was sent out, or had an opportunity to review what was sent out last night. The version you would have received was sent out last week. There was a version last
Right.
week that went out. We had some back and forth with Summit. The biggest changes that would have occurred is that, certain members of the planning commission, Mr. Overland from the town board, so less than a quorum of both of those entities, did have discussions with the DNR, the township's planner, the township's attorney, and at one point, I believe, Summit had some representatives on that call as well with the DNR. And the big thing was, when we had originally looked at the settlement, there were some proposals by Summit Commons had thrown out there that we looked at and as a group in our closed meeting had discussed. And so there was the initial draft of that settlement agreement had those items in there, and it had to do with changes in the shoreline overlay district. The particular document before you was changed after that meeting with the DNR because the DNR raised significant concerns with that. And as you know, our ordinance can be more restrictive than the DNR model ordinance or more restrictive than Pine County shoreline ordinance, but we can't be less restrictive. And so we brought the DNR on board so that we could talk to them about it. And as a result of that, we agreed in the new new zoning ordinance with the shoreline overlay districts that the board just adopted, that we would match Pine Counties and the DNR model ordinance. We wouldn't be less restrictive. And so the settlement agreement before you withdraws what was originally discussed and conceptually agreed to, where we were going to have less restrictive shoreline overlay restrictions. So we removed that out of this settlement agreement. So that's why probably compared to the prior versions you saw, there is no use chart in this settlement agreement. That was removed because we didn't want to go against the DNR recommendation and the DNR guidance. That is the major change in this document.
So basically, we were looking at CUPs, and this has got to be a PUD along with the other, go ahead.
Sure. So we were going to have our zoning ordinance changed to have to specifically lay out CUPs.
Yeah.
This document doesn't. Instead, we said no. The zoning ordinance is going to be PUDs, and that's what that does. This zoning or the settlement document still recognizes that these properties at issue with Summit Commons are legal non-conforming uses, and it does allow for some expansion. Obviously, they have to go through a process. CUP standards, which is very similar to the PUD standards in our ordinance, because you need to be a CUP to get a PUD, but it specifically talks about a CUP. And so the settlement agreement would set forth a specific process for the Summit Commons properties. We submit this settlement agreement to the district court. The district court reviews it, and then the district court signs off on it. So this is what we call a court-approved settlement agreement.
Yeah, I understand
So
what
the
that is.
parties lay out their position, but
Right.
it still goes before the district court, who then ultimately signs off on it.
Yep, no, I know how that works. Thank you.
Did I get a second? I did. All right. All in favor of approving the settlement agreement between the township and Summit Commons, signify by saying aye. Overland, aye.
Cronin, aye.
All right. With that, Jason, Kim, have we covered everything?
I think that was everything on the agenda.
I believe so. All right, I will accept a motion to adjourn. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. Overland, aye.
Cronin, aye.
Thank you for coming. Meeting adjourned.
The ordinance, okay.